Good day and welcome to the Eastern Nation, your trusted source for Africa's latest updates in diplomacy, development, and regional affairs. In the shifting geopolitical tapestry of the Horn of Africa, a series of diplomatic events in early 2026 has drawn deep international attention, redefining alliances, challenging long-held regional doctrines, and raising critical questions about the future of interstate relations in one of the world's most strategically vital regions. At the center of these developments are three actors whose interactions may alter the political landscape of the Horn: Ethiopia, Israel, and Somaliland. This narrative begins not just with the latest diplomatic talks, but with a landmark transformation in global diplomacy that reverberated across East Africa. On December 26, 2025, the government of Israel announced that it had formally recognized the Republic of Somaliland as an independent and sovereign state, the first country in the world to do so. This decision, hailed domestically in Israel as consistent with the spirit of the Abraham Accords, was framed by officials in Jerusalem as a recognition of Somaliland's long-standing effective self-governance and its citizens' right to self-determination. Somaliland's government, in turn, welcomed the decision as a historic moment that would open new pathways for development, investment, and cooperation. President Abdirahman Mohamed Abdullahi, IRO, expressed gratitude and highlighted his administration's readiness to build a comprehensive and multifaceted partnership with Israel spanning economic, security, and developmental sectors. Days later, Israel's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Gideon Sa'ar, became the first senior Israeli official to visit Hargeisa, Somaliland's capital, in an official diplomatic engagement that further cemented this new relationship. The visit underscored Israeli interest in expanding cooperation on trade, technology, agriculture, and regional security alongside formal recognition. The diplomatic landmark did not resonate peacefully across the region. Somalia, which continues to assert its territorial claim over Somaliland, condemned Israel's actions as a violation of sovereignty and an unauthorized incursion. Mogadishu and several African and Islamic states, including Egypt and the Arab League, argued that the move undermined existing international norms of territorial integrity and African Union principles. The African Union Peace and Security Council convened an emergency session to address the ramifications, asserting that unilateral recognition could destabilize political arrangements across the Horn and set a dangerous precedent for other separatist movements. Islamist militant group Al-Shabaab issued threats, interpreting Israel's new presence near key maritime routes as a provocation, and regional powers like Turkey criticized the recognition, framing it as illegitimate and destabilizing. Amid these seismic shifts, Ethiopia has emerged as a key observer and participant in reshaping regional dynamics. Historically, Ethiopia and Israel share a diplomatic relationship rooted in cooperation across multiple domains: security, trade, technology, and people-to-people ties. That partnership was reaffirmed in January 2026, as Ethiopia and Israel concluded the fourth round of Ethiopia-Israel political consultations in Jerusalem. The consultations were led by Ethiopia's State Minister for Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Hadir Abair, who earlier held separate talks with Israel's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Gideon Sa'ar, ahead of the formal dialogue. The engagements focused on reinforcing political relations, expanding economic cooperation, and coordinating positions on regional and multilateral issues of mutual interest. During the consultations, both sides reviewed the overall state of bilateral relations and explored opportunities to deepen cooperation across a wide range of sectors. Key areas of discussion included development cooperation, trade and investment, technology and innovation, water conservation, training and capacity building, and people-to-people exchanges. Shortly before these talks, Gideon Sa'ar publicly described Ethiopia as a long-term strategic partner and reiterated Tel Aviv's interest in deepening ties with Addis Ababa across areas of mutual concern. Notably, Ethiopia has maintained a position of careful diplomatic neutrality regarding Israel's recognition of Somaliland. Addis Ababa has not formally extended recognition to Somaliland, even as Israeli and some Western analysts have speculated that Ethiopia's silence may signal a willingness to consider such a move in the future. That restraint reflects multifaceted Ethiopian interests. Ethiopia remains deeply invested in the regional status quo of sovereign borders, a principle enshrined in the Organization of African Unity and African Union frameworks. A shift toward recognition of a breakaway region could have unpredictable implications for Ethiopia's own internal federal dynamics and set a precedent in African diplomacy challenges. At the same time, Ethiopia's long-standing diplomatic engagements with both Somalia and Somaliland, including high-level visits by Somaliland officials to Addis Ababa, reflect a nuanced engagement strategy. Addis Ababa has traditionally balanced diplomatic outreach while supporting peaceful political processes aimed at conflict resolution rather than unilateral recognition. This approach aligns with Ethiopia's broader regional role as a mediator and stabilizing actor in the Horn. The recognition of Somaliland is not just symbolic, it carries geostrategic weight in the context of global power dynamics. Situated on the southern approaches to the Red Sea, Berbera Port and Somaliland's coastal geography sit astride critical maritime lanes linking Europe, Asia, and Africa. Analysts widely acknowledge that foreign powers, including Israel, see openings for security cooperation around these corridors as tensions rise with Yemen's Houthi forces and wider Red Sea insecurity. For Israel, deeper engagement in the Horn offers both security utility and diplomatic leverage. It potentially expands Tel Aviv's reach into a region increasingly important for global shipping, energy flows, and geopolitical balance between Gulf, African, and Western powers. For Ethiopia, the calculus involves multiple layers. Ethiopia has its own strategic priorities in the Red Sea, chief among them ensuring stable, secure access to maritime corridors, maintaining good relations with port states, Djibouti, Eritrea, and Somaliland, and navigating rivalries involving Egypt, Sudan, and Somalia. The Horn Review has highlighted how Ethiopia's diplomatic engagements in the region are closely tied to preserving secure transit routes and supporting cooperative regional mechanisms. Ethiopia also faces direct external pressures that can shape its stance. For instance, the ethno-political and border disputes with neighbors like Sudan and Eritrea, ongoing diplomatic negotiations with Egypt over the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam, and its own internal federal dynamics, all affect how Addis Ababa engages with new alignments. As the Horn's diplomatic chessboard continues to shift, several plausible scenarios are emerging. 1. Enhanced Ethiopia-Israel strategic cooperation. The January 2026 political consultations signal a mutual interest in deeper ties. Ethiopia and Israel may expand cooperation in areas such as technology transfer, water and agricultural innovation, health systems, and security training, fields where Israel has long-standing expertise and Ethiopia has pressing development needs. This would elevate bilateral ties beyond dialogue toward co-designing joint programs and possibly joint ventures in key sectors. 2. Continued Ethiopian caution on Somaliland recognition. Despite external speculation that Ethiopia might eventually recognize Somaliland, Addis Ababa is likely to maintain its diplomatic caution in the short term. Recognition of a breakaway territory carries implications for the AU's principles and for Ethiopia's own internal political cohesion. Instead, Ethiopia may pursue pragmatic engagement with Somaliland, promoting economic partnerships without formal diplomatic recognition to avoid fracturing regional consensus. 3. Expanded regional economic integration. There is potential for Ethiopia, Israel, and Somaliland to explore areas of economic synergy that do not necessitate full diplomatic recognition. For example, joint investments in logistics infrastructure, energy projects, and technology hubs could align with Ethiopia's vision for growth and integration under African Continental Free Trade Area frameworks. 4. Diplomatic balance with Somalia. Ethiopia is likely to continue supporting dialogue between Somalia and Somaliland. Addis Ababa has historically backed negotiated solutions over unilateral actions, and it may leverage its role as a regional partner to encourage political settlements that preserve stability while easing tensions over recognition. This could position Ethiopia as a mediator between parties, enhancing its regional diplomatic capital. 5. Managing external pressures. As global powers such as the United States, Gulf states, China, and Turkey all assert interests in the Horn, Ethiopia will need to balance multiple partnerships. Its military, economic, and diplomatic engagements, including with Israel, will be shaped by broader strategic calculations involving these external actors. The events of early 2026 illuminate an undeniable truth: the Horn of Africa is at a pivotal juncture. Israel's recognition of Somaliland, coupled with high-level diplomatic exchanges with Ethiopia, has accelerated a strategic recalibration across the region. What was once static has become dynamic, what was once peripheral is now central. The interplay between sovereignty, economic interest, and regional stability is creating new alignments that transcend historical boundaries. For Ethiopia, the challenge and opportunity lies in navigating these changes with vision and strategic clarity. By leveraging ties with Israel while upholding principles of African unity and regional diplomacy, Addis Ababa has the potential to position itself as a nexus of stability and cooperation in the Horn. How Ethiopia manages this moment will shape not only its own national trajectory but also the broader patterns of engagement across Africa and the Middle East. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for daily updates.